Larry K. I know you heard me on the radio flexing. She loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Guys with Glasses podcast. I am your host, Larry K., and we are rebranding a little bit here in Miami Dolphins Phin-Addict Fury World. Fury Fam, welcome to everybody who's out there. If you guys are members of Fury Fam and you still have not emailed me your address, send me your address. I got free gifts coming. A couple people I've heard from. You got the gift coming your way. Everybody else, what are you waiting for? If you haven't joined Fury Fam, click the join button and get on board. Support the channel. Click subscribe. Click the like button. If we don't get some more viewers in here, these two guys in glasses can't start going off the way you want us to. We both came out with a rant. G and I both came out with a rant after that deplorable game, that atrocity. And I'll tell you what, we're going to see a lot less less of these guys. A lot less of them. I don't see them much anymore. I don't see them like I used to see them. And without further ado, click that like, click that subscribe button, click that join button, hit us in the comments section. Let's get rolling. Of course, my dude is here. Michael K is in the building because, the Bills fans are here, especially because the Bills were losing and then the Bills won. And a lot of people are out there saying, oh, Barfalo's about to lose. Well, guess what? Barfalo just barfed on you because they won once again while the Dolphins couldn't do a damn thing. G, we saw your rant. We liked your rant. G, both of us thought the Dolphins would win this game.
Yeah.
And yet, not only did they lose, G, they got destroyed. And remember that whole September thing we were talking about? Like, they're pretty good in September. G, this looks like the worst Tua, the worst Dolphins, the worst McDaniel. This was just everything bad about this team on full display.
Well, yeah, this team is garbage, but my bank account this week is up. I hit on a lot of bets this weekend. The Dolphins may be ass, but it's not going to stop me from putting wagers and watching real good football. But yeah, I'm stuck watching this garbage, and hopefully in 2 weeks, or in a week, I should say, hopefully this all ends. We'll have to wait and see. But, we're hearing a lot of, Larry, I'm hearing a lot of rumors. McGeek and Christopher, they seemingly have 6 to 7 weeks to get it together. They may even have a week to get it together. Because if we lose to New England this Sunday, I don't think they'll fire them both. But that Buffalo game, that's going to be an intriguing one. And by the way, Michael K., thank you for the Bills. I was rooting for the Bills to win that game. Not only because I had money on Buffalo, because this team doesn't deserve any hope. I want the Bills to have the division clinched by week 6 because this team does not deserve to have hope. I do not want to have hope this year. I want the sooner we get rid of these guys, the better this franchise is off. And Larry, I don't know if you heard this, but I'll bring this up now. I was watching a Dolphin Collective before we came on.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Omar Kelly, he was in the locker room. Apparently, these guys were all joking around. If I heard that right, they were all having laughs. And apparently, the only one that looked upset was Stephen Ross. I don't know if that's someone can. I'll go back. I'm going to go back and watch tomorrow. But if I heard that right, that is some issues right there. I mean, Stephen Ross might have to go Billy Bean. He might have to go in the locker room.
This guy right here, he might have to come in and lay down the law and turn this guy right here into his second career, which will be, hey, you got any Madden? We sell Madden. I'm a whiz at Madden. And, these guys, the Tuaneers, they're not going to be very happy. I'll tell you that. Well, Dolphins, yeah. Gee, I believe that. And quite frankly, we saw on the sideline, only Tyreek was mad. And it just shows how last year when he said, I'm out of here, a lot of the Dolphin faithful, a lot of the Dolphin stands were so mad at Tyreek for saying that. Oh, he said he's out of here. If you're out of here, then you know what? If you're out of here, then we don't need you, man. Get rid of him. Now, look, I think Tyreek, just because of, from a management standpoint, he's going to lose a step. He's got all kinds of off the field issues. We should probably capitalize on trading him anyway. But these dyed-in-the-wool homers that were so mad about it, at the end of the day, G, the only guy who was mad that we were losing was Tyreek. You know why? Because this culture This culture has been pathetic, absolutely pathetic. And everything is about having fun. And it's just becoming an absolute joke. And one thing, I was listening to QAM today, and I don't usually listen all the time, but I was listening to QAMG, and they were saying an interesting thing. Leroy said, look, one thing about the Dolphins that we all know that's obvious to anybody who watches the team the last few years is the Dolphins only throw the ball in the middle of the field. They consistently throw the ball in the middle of the field. And that was actually the route that Tua was trying to hit Tyreek on when he sailed it epically for the first turnover, which really turned the game on its head initially. And Xavier Howard, I'm going to try to pull up the quote if I can in a little bit. Xavier Howard said, look, we clogged up the middle. We took away Tua's first read. And as soon as you take away his first read, it's panic mode. But what Leroy said on WQAM I thought was interesting. He said, why haven't they ever built off of that route? I.e., if you're going to do that slant, that loose post in the middle of the field, why haven't you built off it? If somebody's going to jump that route or somebody's going to come up to Tyreek, why haven't you turned that upfield after that and turned it into a bomb? Why has nothing been innovated since 2022, 2023, when Mike McDaniel came in with the initial script and teams figured out the initial script? Why has nothing been done, G, to build off of that and start to fool teams in your evolution? There is no evolution on this team. There is only stagnation, and it's an absolute joke. And it's the culture too, G. I'm going to pull something up. But if you want to speak to the culture, I mean, I just think that's a big problem too.
I mean, Larry, this team has been exposed for the past 2 years, and there's been nothing new. So the only question I ask is, what is Mike McGeek doing in the offseason? Is he going to the beach and having pilates? I mean, how is he not drawing up new plays? Like, I mean, Xavier Howard, I mean, I don't remember what he said, but I mean, he knew what we're doing. He's been with this team. I mean, at this rate, Larry, the good teams had us figured out, and now these bad teams, the Colts, they gave us an ass beat. I don't think the Colts are, world beaters. They might win the division. They might sneak in as a wild card, but I don't think they're, a really good team. And they put belt to ass to us. And, Mike Vrabel, the Dolphin killer, what do you think this week? And, I mean, I don't know what are they doing? I mean, how do you not have like new plays ready? And I don't know, this culture, they're probably playing ping pong in the locker room still. Like, I don't know what's going on. This team, ever since we hired this geek, we've gone soft, but we had a really good head coach that was ran out of the building by Twitter geeks and guys, and now we are stuck with this. And I'm leading the train on Twitter. Hashtag bring back Flow. I doubt it will happen, but maybe we bring him back. I don't know. A hashtag bring back Flow.
Yeah. No, I see. And hold on. I want to do something. I'm trying to find something. All right, so hold on. I want to play this, G. And I want to the people are so mad about the Flow thing, by the way. That's
and everyone wants to blame Flores for not tanking. I think, I said it back in high school. We didn't need to tank. I didn't believe in tanking then. Now I'm kind of believing in it now because this team sucks. But like it's Chris Greer. Chris Greer, I mean, and the scouts, I mean, they saw the injuries with Tua. They saw the hip injury. So are we just we're going to blame Flores for not tanking? I mean, we could have got Herbert.
I think too, what you see with now Flores had some issues too, like he had some losing streaks, but I think what you see with the fan base, G, is just this homerism, right? This circling the wagons homerism. When Flores had something negative to say, you get these guys coming out in mass. How dare you hate on my Dolphins? You're a traitor. You're a turncoat. Like, bro, we're not in the mob. We're not in some family omerta, slit your fingers in blood oath. This is just some franchise that this goon owns as one of his many ownership stakes and investments in the world. And we got to keep it 100% real. So, yes, Flores had a point. Flo said, look, this quarterback, I don't think he's got the moxie or the balls or the stuff I need to be a winning football team. I don't believe in this kid. We're going to need to try something else. and I don't believe in tanking, and I don't like this goofy four-eyed nerd. No offense to the Two Glasses Guys podcast right here, but that guy, Stephen Ross, I don't like that guy staring his four eyes in my face telling me that I got to tank and he'll give me a couple extra bucks because I don't play that nonsense. Homie, don't play that. He's not doing that. And then he turns around and says, this is what was going on there. This team is a joke. This organization is a joke. And people want to get mad at him for ratting us out. How about we get mad? How about we get mad at Stephen Ross, who, listen, this is not the first rodeo. Everybody's like, oh, Mike McDaniels, he hired Adam Gase. He hired Joe friggin' Philbin. Joe Philbin. This is the guy. And here's the thing, G. Here is the thing. With the Tua situation, it started off. I said this in my written column. People who don't know, I do a written column every week. If you're a Fury Fam member and you click join, you can read my weekly column. I wrote this in my weekly column this week. I wrote the fact that Stephen Ross initially said he was going to leave football alone. He was going to put Chris Greer in charge and let him run with it. And he went back on that very soon. Within a couple of years, he started trying to wine and dine Tom Brady on yachts, some weird stuff. He got rid of Flores. He tried to weigh in and baby Tua. The two of them had to baby Tua because he didn't like, remember that whole thing all the Tuaneers said? Like, Tua stood up for himself. He told Flores, you can't talk to people that way, Brian. You can't talk to people that way. You just can't, man. And these guys, Stephen Ross, and Mike and Chris Greer, they heeded what Tua and these babies wanted, and they went out and they got Mike McDaniel, who, let's be honest, and I've talked to somebody who's in the coaching profession who knows this. Mike McDaniel is a good tactician in terms of X's and O's from a coordinator standpoint. But they got a guy who committed to being a cheerleader for Tua, a cheerleader for these guys. When they asked him, how do you think a guy with your stature is going to command a room of men? And his answer was not, look, I may look a certain way, but when you get me behind the doors, guys respect me because I got the balls. I got what it takes. You ask a guy like me that's what you're going to hear. Yeah, a lot of these clowns in the comments want to crack. Oh, look at your hairline's this and your glasses that. Bro, come into a room with me. Come on the journey that I've been in life, and I'll show you. I'll get somebody to follow me. And if you got a problem with it, we can take it outside. We can take it toe-to-toe. Okay? Mike McDaniel didn't say that. What Mike McDaniel said was, well, I think that what they'll see is that if they want to make more money and they want to succeed, then they can kind of ask me to help them do that. And I think they'll see me as like a consultant. Now, Mike, not totally knocking that theory or philosophy. That's something, thinking on your toes. That's a solid answer at the end of the day. However, it just didn't work, G. It fell apart because at a certain point, you need accountability. We heard, G, guys were showing up late to meetings. Guys don't take the game seriously. Guys goof off and get right on the Madden console and get on Twitch as soon as the season's over. Everything's a joke to these guys. Tua's going over to watch McGruber or whatever they're doing instead of watching film. And everything is a happy-go-lucky atmosphere. Now, Stephen Ross, G, I read, he consistently wins every year the Players Awards for like the most hospitable, player-friendly atmosphere. Now, I'm not saying you have to run a hostile work environment in order to get the most out of your players. I applaud Stephen Ross for having a tolerant environment, an environment with a lot of amenities, but there still has to be accountability. No organization will ever do well with zero accountability. And what we've seen, G, is after Tua threw a fit with Flores, Stephen Ross got involved again, and he went out and he got his finesse head coach, because this is a pattern now. It's not, the common denominator is Stephen Ross. He got Joe Philbin, Adam Gase, and now he's got Mike McDaniel. He went for the finesse offensive coach. He got a coach that would cheerlead his quarterback, and then Greer surrounded the quarterback with every piece to go all in 2023. All in. And it didn't work, and now we're stuck holding the bag. And that's where we are. And, G, share your thoughts, because then I want to play something that I heard from LaShawn McCoy earlier today that I think is relevant to the situation of what I'm addressing.
Yeah, I mean Flores, yes, I agree. He did have his issues. I'm with you on that, but he's a much better coach than Mike McGee. And when Stephen Ross made the decision to fire Gase, I'm like, okay, no more bubble screens. And then, I watched his press conference. It kind of got me, pumping my veins are popping out because he's finally doing something right. Flores comes in. I didn't like the hire because he was a Bell Belichick, and then he comes in. He's playing the win. He's not tanking. I was feeling up I was in the school. Like the first game we played the Ravens, I'm like, we're gonna beat the heck out of the Ravens because I believe I wasn't tanking. I thought we could win the Super Bowl that year. I remember to school, I'm like, this is a new Dolphins. And after we got shellacked by the Ravens, I'm like, this team sucks. And I finally woke me up to see that this team does nothing. And then we drafted Tua, which is when the franchise died. I mean, I don't know how you can take a guy coming off a hip injury top 5. I mean, that's a Chris Greer mascot. But again, I mean, you could argue, well, Flores was probably okay with the decision. Maybe he should have stuck his neck out more. But yeah, anyway, with Ross firing Greer, Flores, he didn't fire Greer too, which is, I don't know why you're not firing both. And you could tell, Mike McGee wasn't even in consideration for any coaching job. There was a reason why
he wasn't.
He's only here because of he said, I can fix him. I'm telling you right now, Larry, at the rate this team is looking right now, if he gets fired, let's say after Buffalo, there is no reason to be playing Tua.
Yeah, no, 100. Tua at that point, and there was another report out today that said Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer might be on borrowed time if they don't turn it around quick. Now, knowing Stephen Ross and also knowing this fan base, I hate to say it, if we go out and all of a sudden we pull out some nail biter against New England, they're going to be circling the wagons again. Oh, if we win this and beat that and this, that, and they're going to start going through their whole thing again, which is this every time. They go through this every time we have one little win. Oh, imagine all this. This is, guys, by the way, this is the Tuaniers trying to justify why nothing was his fault ever. But they're going to go into that, G, and then it's going to prolong the inevitable because I do think McDaniel and Greer's time is up. I said at the beginning of the season, I agree with you. If they move on from them, there's no reason to play Tua. You have Zach Wilson. He's still a young quarterback. He's got plenty of issues. Yeah. But you throw him in and you give us something interesting to look at least. And, look what happened with Danny Dimes over there in Indianapolis. I don't think he's going to be the answer long term, but, you never know. You might get a fun game and a cool weekly headline out of it. So I agree with you. At that point, you sit Tua. But I want to play what LaShawn McCoy was saying earlier today because I thought it made a lot of sense. Take a listen.
I did see it. I haven't heard it, though. But let's.
I'm tired of him talking so much. I never thought he was that good anyway. You did. I never thought that. I thought he had a baby arm because he had a little arm. So I thought he was a baby and I thought he was short. And I thought that he needed a certain coach to make him look good.
Tell us how you really feel.
That's the truth, though. You watching, though, right? Before he got Tyreek Hill and McDaniels with all this crazy offense, what was we talking about? They was talking about tampering with Tom Brady trying to get him down there.
Yeah.
And now we want to act like the real problem is Tyreek. No, he ain't the problem. Because in football, I learned this. I don't care what you got going on outside of football. Mm-hmm. When you hear, if you're putting touchdowns and points up, the NFL will deal with you. Mm-hmm. And that's Tyreek Hill. He's that good. Tua's not. Why he there? Yeah. Why they even pay him? Because you had like one real good, I'm cooking right now. He had one good year for real playing wise. And number two, you always hurt. And you want all this max money. You tell me, Otto, because you like him.
So I thought that was just spot on, man. It was spot on. It was, he had one good year. He doesn't have a great arm. They surrounded him with every good player possible, and yet they are still limited. Still limited. And I don't think it could have been said any better. I have some other quotes from other people I'm gonna bring up. But I just think, G, that he's spot on. And I think the way he's even saying it, which is just, how do you guys not kind of get this? I think is how a lot of us have felt from jump. And it's crazy that so many in our fan base still haven't really accepted these facts. It's just crazy. I think it's been obvious. And to start the year like that, G, not coming down the stretch, not with a bunch of injuries. And by the way, we had a bunch more injuries. But to start the year like that, I think is just letting us know that there's no changing where we know we are. There's just not, bro.
I mean, Larry, the moment I knew Mike McGee wasn't a good coach, I don't know, was it his first year or second year when Tua went down with an injury? He couldn't get backups look competent. So back when we had Tua on the 5th-year option, there was a reason why he was banging the table to get him paid, because he probably knew if, oh shit, sorry for my language, if Tua goes down, then I might get fired. So he was banging the table, and then of course last year, you know, we paid him, and then he got hurt, and then we're stuck with him. Now, I mean, I don't care about the dead money. I don't care about the cap situation. If we do cut, I think he should be cut regardless. With a new GM and new coach, I don't think we should. Again, if Ross does this again, he did it when we fired Flores. He made whoever the next coach is. I think he said the coach could pick the quarterback, but we all knew whoever the coach that was coming in was going to be stuck with this quarterback. So hopefully Ross, when things, I think people will be getting fired. I have no hope in this season. Maybe we'll be laughing about this come February next year. But, you know, I think you can't let the new GM and coach come in with this. They have to get rid of him. I mean, who cares about the dead cap or the cap, whatever? I mean, look at the Denver Broncos. I'm not saying the Denver Broncos, they struggled against the Titans, but they move off Russell Wilson. They have, I think, 277 something in dead cap because of the contract or whatever it is. They brought in Bo Nix and they made the playoffs, and you know they're not looking good now. I do think the Broncos will probably be in playoff content, maybe even AFC West title. But like the Broncos, I mean, Bo Nix didn't look bad. He's in probably a sophomore slump, but you know, again, once they free up that money, they'll be able to build around him.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we have some questions in the comments too. You know, is Drew Aller somebody we're going to go after? I would be looking at the draft, especially if we drop a bunch in a row and we're already way under 500 come the middle of the season. I think you go all in on the tank. You try to get the highest draft pick possible. You try to make trades to get your way up the draft to rebuild. You bring in a new regime and you let them pick their guy and go. But I also see in the comments, you know, would anybody else pay Tua the $50 million? It was the dumbest deal ever made. And I think it was. I think it was a stupid deal.
I mean, yeah, it was a stupid deal. You should have never paid him. I mean, I mean, after year 3, I would have tried to move on. But we fired the guy, and we ever since we've been going with pride. We can't let our pride go.
Yeah, and I think, G2, you know, I blame partly, though, the Dolphins fan base and the media in South Florida. Now, I'm not in South Florida. I have connections to South Florida. I'm in there, you know, when I'm with family, when I'm making the trip. But I have to say, man, you watch the games, you hear the crowd. They are all in on Tua so much of the time. And then you got guys like Omar Kelly, who, when you really listen to him, when Omar Kelly actually hammers down on actual football X's and O's and actual reporting about guys, he's very good at gleaning the truth. And he has been the one who said, he reported that guys in the Dolphins were saying, you know, if Tua's our guy and we got to go up against that guy and that guy, how the hell are we going to go anywhere? But then Omar started getting into the podcast game and everything else. And he's one of the people who, he seemed to me like a Tua apologist. When it came time for this contract situation, Omar Kelly's out there, and a lot of fans are out there saying, you don't disrespect your girlfriend. You don't disrespect your wife. You don't disrespect your current girlfriend like that, you know, and not pay him. You do not disrespect him. You have to pay him. It's like, bro, it was a simple solution. The dude had not proven himself to be able to stay healthy. The dude had not proven himself to be able to consistently perform under pressure down the stretch in games that meant something. The only thing that you needed to do was exercise your 5th-year option. Had you done that, I understand that, you know, at looking forward, it might have seemed, how dare you do that? And remember, the market is the market, because I said, and you can rewind my podcast, you can go back to my podcast from that time period, and you can check and you can quote me. I said, the market is only the market because of artificial inflation. Tua saying it's the market just because other teams were dumb enough to pay other quarterbacks too much, and they make this artificial like housing bubble of a market. And then he's out there. And by the way, all this Mr. Nice Guy nonsense, He's out there saying, you know, the market is the market. And don't forget what he did to Omar in the post game when Omar said, why do your turnovers come in bunches, which they always do, which is usually in an important game down the stretch. He had the balls to say, oh, that's a crazy question, bro. That's crazy. Like all this Mr. Nice Guy nonsense is all BS, man. And all you had to do was exercise your fifth-year option, G, because you might have looked disrespectful at first, but after he gets hurt again and is out again and is underperforming again, everybody in the league would have applauded you, the Miami Dolphins, for having the balls to stand up to the inflated market and to stand on your laurels and not fall for it. But instead, you're in cap hell. And even, I agree with you, the Broncos got out from Russell Wilson's contract. If you get a new coach or a new GM, they make the decision. You might have to get out from their contract.
And again, if you're a new GM getting promoted, and this is maybe, I don't know if we're going to get a first-time GM. Probably more than likely we'll get a first-time GM. I mean, this is his time to prove it. You got to hit on your draft picks. And Larry, this is maybe concerning because that is the one reason Chris Greer might be able to save his job. Is he'd be like, you know, I didn't want to pay Tua. I wanted to let it ride it out. I think Brandon Shore, one of the guys in that organization, was advising it against it as well. And Mike McGeek was really banging the table that he had to go up to the Ross's office and be like that. So that could be the one reason Chris Greer's job stays. And again, I think they both should be fired. I'm not going to keep one and we got to stop doing this. And Stephen Ross has to look himself in the mirror and be like, both we got to go. And, you know, I'm going to fix things. I'm going to go find a GM. I'm going to tell you who will hire, who you want to hire. I'm with it. And then you meet with the coach, you meet with the GM. You guys got 5 years. You can go 0-17 all 5 years. All 5 years. We'll come to that, and at the end of year 5, he's got to come. He can just stay in New York, come down on Sundays to watch the games wherever they are. Because he was in Indianapolis, he's got to stay out. But you know, we can. I think, you know, he's got to go. I mean, we can't be doing this again. If Chris Greer and others stuck to their guns, and I don't know if Chris Greer let it happen, but if we really stuck to our guns and let Mike McGeek not dictate us, because he's the head coach, we're the ones paying him. Chris Greer is out here getting the players. If we, you know, just stuck to our guns, I don't think we're in this situation. I think last year we probably would have dropped the quarterback last year.
Yeah, we should have drafted a quarterback. And G, I want to show you another video now.
I heard this Jared boy.
Yep. Check this out. Hold on.
What the hell is he talking about? You know, maybe he's on a different level, McGenius, whatever the hell he is, nerd boy. But anyway, their team has no respect for the coach. They play like that. They're like, come on, man, get us a dang guy in here. Where's the physicality of this team? What did you say?
They're soft. They're soft.
They're soft. Like,
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. And every part of their football team, they have tons of talent on this team. Daniel, we were talking, that's why you picked them to win, because they have tons of talent. Yeah. They don't play with any passion or any smoke to them.
And Larry, I hate to cut.
Period. I think Rex said it all. McGenius, McGeek, nerd, and they're all laughing at him.
Yeah.
And they saying they don't respect them. There's talent, but they don't respect them. How can you deny that?
I mean, you can't. I mean, Larry, I don't know if I was watching Dolphin Collective again before we came here, and Omar Kelly and DDW and TD were talking about it. This is the one thing that could wake Stephen Ross's, you know, eyes up, because Stephen Ross loves it when we're in the media, you know, the jersey sales, people showing up to the game. If this is how the media are going to talk about us, the rival jerseys, I believe, come on sale tomorrow. And Doug said it best. I hope we have the lowest sales out of all 8, because that's the only thing that will wake his eyes up is we don't show up to the games. The media keeps talking bad about us. Jersey sales are low. I mean, that's the only thing that can pop his eyes. That's the only way we're going to get change.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think part of the problem here is, if you recall, when Stephen Ross first bought the Dolphins, the head of football operations was Bill Parcells. Now, I see a lot of hate for a lot of people, especially amongst the younger generation, and not you, G, because you're a talented and young lad. But a lot of these cats, man, out here who have not lived through it, there's a lot of Marino bashing, Shula bashing, Jimmy Johnson bashing, and some of that's created by Big O and his nonsense. But, you know, there's a lot of bashing and a lot of fans that are content. Stephen Ross came in, and so there's a lot of Parcells bashing and a lot of that era bashing. Now, I'm not saying they did great because they didn't get us to the promised land, but the teams were tough. They gave us the Wildcat year. They gave us some memories. They gave us a division title, which is more than Stephen Ross has done since he's gotten here. Now, here's the thing. When Stephen Ross came in and Parcells was here, Parcells said, I'm leaving. You know why? Because he wants to do the orange carpet and he wants to do all this silly stuff. And here's the thing that's sad. You talk about we don't want jersey sales to be high, and I agree. But the problem is that there's a lot of Dolphins fans out there who are finesse first fans who love the commercialism. They love the bright colors and the new stuff, and they defend it all. And I fear that too many of them are going to run to just support the team and buy the new colors rather than sticking to their guns like a gritty, hardened fan base does and demand results. I worry that this fan base doesn't have it in them to do the right thing. And by the way, shout out to Jericho, says, welcome back. I hate them. $5 super chat. Thank you, my brother, for getting that started tonight. You are a true Fury fam supporter, and we respect that. Thanks for joining us tonight and listen to us as we unload and unlock on this team that has once again failed us. Thank you, my brother. And JD Diesel, stop buying merch. I bet they fix it then. Got plenty of shirts, hats, etc. We need wins now, and fans need respect. Yeah, fans who don't respect themselves don't get respected by the team. And the problem is, if we got all these cheerleaders buying merch and cheering on a subpar, mediocre quarterback and coach just because they feel some emotional affinity to a losing franchise, that is never going to get us where we want to go. And Signed Blue says, yes, Larry, but what's the right thing to do? Boycott the team? I say yes, and I don't mean you don't watch the games. I got Sunday ticket. They gave me a deal. I'm watching the Dolphins. I'm talking the Dolphins. This is a Dolphins branded podcast, right? There's content creators all over YouTube who discuss the Dolphins. You don't have to abandon the entire community. You can support your local podcast or your commentator. You can wear your old merch that you already have. You could rock that in public and display your awkward pride. You can watch on TV. But yeah, don't go to the game and spend a crazy amount of money on premium tickets or tickets at all. Don't go to the game and spend a crazy amount of money on concessions. Don't buy merchandise. Why are you supporting a millionaire, billionaire owner who doesn't care about you and doesn't do anything to improve the team? You look like this, and you really do, and your ass going to be kicked in the face because you have to go through this type of effort to make it seem okay that you still support this nonsense. And this guy, who mostly lives in New York, is walking away to the bank laughing at you without having done a damn thing to earn your hard-earned money or respect. These players are making millions. Tua got a $50 million deal. A $50 million deal. That's why he has the type of money, that FU money, to suck on the field, laugh on the sideline, wear his sunglasses at night when he doesn't need to in a losing season, and then go home and chill out and do whatever the hell he wants because he's got FU money, and he says FU to the fans. Stephen Ross has FU money. Mike McDaniel has FU money. And you are not proving anything about being a man or being loyal or being tough by getting behind these guys and continuing to be exploited by them. You are gaining nothing from doing that. So, yes, the answer is boycott.
Yes, boycott the team indeed. Like, I'm not going to stop watching these games, no matter if we're good, no matter if we're bad, no matter if we're mid. I'm still going to watch every game. But if you want, you can go find some other sites. You don't have to pay YouTube TV. That's one way, that because I believe that goes in the owner's pocket. You can find another way to watch it if you don't want to do that. I'm not buying a single thing of Dolphin. Maybe my parents or my sister buy me something, which I'll accept. If it's a Christmas gift. That's the only thing. I'm not spending my money on it. I wouldn't go to the games either. But if you are going to go to the games, just don't go to concessions because that's just lining up Ross's pockets.
Yeah. And Phil, a Fury Fam member and executive member, by the way, if you haven't done so yet, Phil does a written rant. He's done 2 now, before the last game and after the last game, that are really good reads. You should go to the community section, the post section of this channel, Phin-Addict Fury channel. Phil is an executive contributor, and he writes a column. So go check that out and read that. Executive members get to drop rants after the show, after the game, if they want. I'll post it on the channel, and executive members get to write whatever you want to do. You're an executive. You get to sit and be part of the content creation on this channel. Phil does it. And so I really recommend reading his latest column. But he says, I would imagine and assume that anyone who is on the support your team positive toxicity crowd, either they're on payroll like Omar, or they've been on board for less than 10 years. Yeah, you really got to have respect for yourself to not do that. And most people who have respect for themselves are people that have lived through the glory of this franchise and then seen it completely crumble. And Greg, even you became a fan the year that we won the division. So as mediocre as that might sound to somebody who's a 60, 70-year-old Dolphin fan who saw them in the undefeated season, I didn't get to see that. But as mediocre as that might sound, it's pretty decent achievement. 2008 is a high watermark looking back. And if you pay attention, when did we have the last true Hall of Fame players? And when were we a recognized contending team, even if we never got to the promised land? Under Jimmy Johnson. When did we win playoff games? Under Dave Wannstedt. When did we win a division title? Under Bill Parcells and Tony Sperano, God rest his soul. We have not won even a division title since Stephen Ross bought the team. So do I sound like I'm all over the place on this show? Maybe, but the truth is that when I'm talking sometimes about Greer, sometimes about the quarterback, sometimes about the owner, sometimes about the coach, what I'm doing is I'm telling you that the entire regime is to blame. Now, you get a lot of pushback saying, well, you can't change Ross, so you got to live with it. Very true. But Ross can do something. And you guys can send him this message by boycotting. He can put the team in the hands of actual football people who actually know what they're doing and then take his damn hands off. He needs to get Garfinkel out, get him out, bring in I'm all for bringing in a GM / football, guru, whatever. Let him decide. I'm talking everything. Yeah. The music in the stadium, the jerseys, go back to throwbacks or keep these. Let this guy have his hands on everything that influences culture, the way a college coach does, and stay the hell away. You said it last week. Give him 5 years. Don't touch it no matter what, because what if he has a rough 4 and then he's a champion in his 5th? Leave it alone and let him hire the coach, the quarterback, and leave it alone. No more yacht trips with Tom Brady, martini dinners. No more bribery. No more lost draft picks. No more stupid comments. No more going in a plane to recruit Jim Harbaugh, who wants nothing to do with you except when you were giving him Michigan money. No more, Steve, unless you're going to clap and walk away. And you said that the reports were the team was happy-go-lucky, but Stephen Ross was not happy on the sidelines. Hopefully he finally wakes up. The man, I'm not a huge fan, but he can't be that stupid. He's got billions of dollars. He's run successful businesses. He hasn't done a good job with the Dolphins, but he's run successful businesses in the past. He has to understand, bro, when you're not good at something, you bow out. I'm not good at math, I didn't become a mathematician. I'm not good at biology, I'm not a doctor. I'm pretty good at talking, so I became a lawyer. So, Steve, great real estate guy. You're not a good football guy. Hire somebody who is and step aside.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want to keep Garfunkel, I honestly want him gone too. But you tell him, worry about the business side. You do your finances, your marketing, whatever Tom Garfinkel does for this organization. You let the GM come in. You let him hire his scouts. Let him hire his assistant GMs, whatever GM positions. And Brandon Shore, I believe he is a part in this organization. You do not force him to work with him. You let the GM pick everybody. You let the coach, whoever the coach is, you let them pick their OC, DC, special teams coordinator, wide receiver coach. You do not, if Weaver is still here, you do not handcuff the new head coach with Weaver. I think Weaver, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be the head coach or not, or be the DC, but again, you do not handcuff. That's what we did with Mike McGee. We handcuffed him with Josh Boyer. We should have let go of Josh Boyer. What's his face? The special teams coordinator, Danny Crossman. He should have been gone too.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. Crossman was terrible.
That aspect, because he didn't get to pick his DC. He didn't get to pick his special teams coordinator. And I feel like at the same time, listen, I think Tua is literally the worst football player I've seen, but he has not been set up for success in his career as a Dolphin. Chris Greer doesn't know that he's coming off hip surgery. He had injuries in college. He's now got concussion issues. Doesn't go out and build a proper O-line. Now, granted, I think people are saying, well, if Tua struggles with more time, okay, but there should be no reason why Keon Smith and Larry Borum are going to be our starting tackling guard this week.
No reason. No excuse, G. And Reese's Pieces, by the way, brand new member to Fury Fam. So thanks for your membership and your support. It's much appreciated, my brother. Reese's Pieces says, and by the way, another perk of membership, your comments consistently get highlighted on the show, and we reference them, so click join. He says, Ross is getting up there in age. Doesn't he want to see his team go back to the promised land? It's crazy he doesn't go scorched earth. I agree. That's the thing, Reese's Pieces. Why doesn't he see that? He's got to see it at some point. He's got to do it. And, G, I agree with you, man. Like, how are we going into yet another season with an offensive line like that, and we already have injuries, and we're already in the tank? It's almost like they want to set it up for failure so that they have an excuse every year.
Yeah, Larry.
It's played.
James Daniels is already on IR. Storm Duck is probably going to be out multiple weeks.
Yeah. Just so, I mean, look, I think Rasul Douglas will make an impact, and I think that was a decent pickup. And I don't even understand. It must be Weaver. They're bringing in these like hard guys, these like legit guys all of a sudden, to complement the finesse. And these guys, Matt Judon, he gets a rough penalty, a stupid penalty, but is he laying hits? Yeah. Is he playing with some enthusiasm? Yeah. Rasul Douglas, Minka Fitzpatrick, again, some rough stuff out there, but they're playing like they care. That's not a coincidence. These are guys with that reputation. Is Weaver requesting them? What's happening? Because this hasn't been present on the team for years under Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer. So it's just interesting. And Phil says, Greg, every move they have made has been to try and make Tua look good. I have to disagree with you there.
Jalen Waddle, right? We drafted Jalen Waddle. We could have drafted Panay Sewell. So I'm with him on. I don't want to come off as a Tua defender. I think Tua is the worst quarterback in probably NFL history. I don't know if that's. I mean, that might be taking it far. But yeah, bringing in Tyreek and having Waddle. But again, that O-line, we can't. We gotta give some points there, because that O-line sucks. Imagine if we had a Panay Sewell on this O-line instead of Austin Jackson on that right side. I mean, I'm not going to cut him slack. I mean, it's 6 years in the league. You shouldn't, have, your second read ready and stuff like that. But, Tua's a one-read quarterback, and we can't be doing that no more.
Yeah, and Cat for Life, shout out, my brother. It's good to see you. I like your profile picture there. The ICP, the whack clown posse that runs the Miami Dolphins. I love it. Larry G, what up? And what's up to you, my brother? It's great to see you. And here's my thing. Phil says we've done everything to make Tua look good. And G has a point too, though, right? They go out and they get his college teammate, who, by the way, when they were asking him who he liked, he said the guy who went to New England. I don't know why I forget the name of Mac Jones. He was like, Mac's my guy. Like, okay, that's a diss on Tua. But and he sucked. I mean, but so they bring in his college teammate. What I think G is saying is that they have done a heck of an effort. Well, Phil too. They've done a big effort in trying to inflate Tua's numbers and stats. And if you look at the Tua defenders that are out there, the Tuaneers, their main argument is always the numbers and stats. So they've gotten these wide receivers and skill players to inflate the stats. But what they haven't done is said, look, you guys got to chill out. We're not going to get the stats. We're going to get an O-line, because that's what you really need to keep you protected and give you time to figure it out behind there. but they never did that because they too only care about stats, because this is a glitz and glamour team. They like to hang their hat on stats the same way that the fans do. Mike McDaniel allowing Tyreek Hill to try to go out there and get 3,000 yards instead of being smarter about preserving his, bodily integrity and going out there and staying fresh to the end of the year shows that they care more about the glitz and glamour than the wins. And that's why they're so silly. They could have at least had the record against the Broncos for most points. They could have at least had it, but they tried to pretend. They tried to pretend that they didn't care about that. They were going for the wins, but then they go for 3,000 yards and don't get any meaningful wins. It's absurd. Now, that being said, we can't stay here all night and just talk about how terrible they are, even though they are quite terrible. What are you seeing for this week, G? It's your neck of the woods. It's not, right? It's down in Miami, or is it up at New England? It's down in Miami?
Home opener.
Yeah, home opener, but it's the team that's up by you, who had a respectable showing, I thought, and Vrabel's no joke. He's a fin killer. He's the guy I would have wanted to bring in, quite frankly. I was hoping we brought in Vrabel. But what's your take on this game coming up?
Yeah, Larry, I just want to say one more thing on this.
Yeah, go for it.
I wanted Panay Sewell. I believe K-Flex, another YouTuber, wanted. But I fell in the trap of we need to get a Jamar Chase, Waddle, or Devontae Smith. I fell in that trap, and once I heard that, I'm like, let's get one of those guys. I should have stuck to my guns, but I didn't. With that being said, that's the last thing we'll touch on that. But this game coming up, I have nothing to say about this team. I've been crapping on this team all week. I hope I want to win, but deep down, I hope this team loses. And then I hope Buffalo puts 60 on us. And, if we lose, I'm going to be, somewhat happy because that's going to get this stop the can get kicked down. If we win, it's another kick the can down the road situation. I hope we win. Deep down, I hope we lose. The Patriots, I feel like they're not happy. I think they're in the same situation we are. They want to kind of, they want to win, but they're already starting tank conversations over there, which you got Mike Vrabel. He ain't going to tank. I was debating on writing a letter to Mike Vrabel as a Dolphin intern, saying some bad stuff to motivate him to get rid of these gods, but I didn't. But I think, this is probably a game we're going to win. I hope we lose, but I'm not going to be actively – when I say I hope we lose, I'm not actively rooting. It's still early. Can we turn it around? Yeah, but at the same time, thank you, Jericho. The nightmare is we go 9-8. We're picking it at 15 or late in the teens. Maybe Greer and McGeek are still here, but probably gone. That's the nightmare scenario. Or somehow we sneak in the playoffs and we, maybe win. And then we go to the divisional round and the Chiefs put 40 on us. And then we're going in the next offseason like, hey, we won a playoff game. We just got to figure out how we can get further and whatnot. Make all the excuses because, time always tells. And I've knew this for years. Tua was not the guy. I've known this probably since the end of the 23 year. Mike McGeek's not the guy. Mike McGeek's still calling these bubble screens, still not running the ball when he has to. Ollie Gordon, like Jalen Wright last year, Ollie Gordon had a somewhat good showing, and then he's riding the bench. He doesn't learn. Greer doesn't learn. But, yeah, I think we're probably going to end up winning this game, which sucks. But, I could see us also losing. If we lose, bad, if we lose like how we lost to the Colts, I think you could see – they maybe won't do it because we're playing Thursday. But you could see a Mike McGeek firing after. If we lose somewhat close, because that's kind of what I'm thinking. We're either going to win close or lose close. But, yeah, we could maybe see Mike McGeek fired. But, we don't know. We can only hope, man. And it sucks that we have to be in this situation. We want to win, but at the same time we want to lose. But the more we win, the more, the chances they're given. And, it just sucks up with the position we are in right now in Dolphin land.
Yeah, and look, I think there was a question in there, what do we think of Weaver as the interim and the possible future head coach? Look, I don't he's done okay. He hasn't done great. I'm for, an interim coach. Let him come in as the interim and see what happens. But I think this whole organization needs complete rewind. Now, I think what we screwed up was with Dan, Campbell. And if he does a good job, as an interim coach, and then a new regime comes on, he should get a fair shake. one of the things I think that happens in this league far too often, and probably in society and life in general, to be honest, is just guys have one-track minds. They have blinders on. They have this plan. Whenever I get hired, I'm bringing in this guy, and there's no way around it. He's my guy. He's my guy. And other guys who might be better or more formidable, they don't get a legitimate look. So I would love to see him get a legitimate look if he was able to be the interim coach. I think he should, because I don't think McDaniel makes it through the season. There was another question of whether we're going to bench Tua if we lose this week. Look, if Tua has some sort of, another complete meltdown, it's possible maybe to get some motivation, but the Dolphins have not shown any ability to ever give that guy any crap whatsoever. I think he would raise hell. I think it would be a big problem with his camp. And I think a lot of fans out there, they're underground right now. They're not talking, but they haven't changed their tune. Trust me. You try to bench Tua or something, or he has one good game, the Tua ears are still around.
Yeah.
They are still going to come out. So,
yeah, like you guys overreacted. I mean, Larry, they're already saying it's one game. Let's
yeah.
They're overreacting. And the question about Tua getting benching, there's only two ways I see Tua getting benched. Number one, Mike McGee gets fired halfway through the year. Maybe let's try out Zach Wilson, see what he got, then go to Quinn Ewers. The only way I see Tua getting benched this week is if by halftime the Patriots are up like 30-0. And maybe Mike McGee wants to save his job. He's like, Zach Wilson, let's see what he got in this offense. And then, if we win, maybe Zach could be the guy or going into Buffalo to save McGee's job. But there's only two ways. If we look horrible on offense, Patriots up 30-0.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's possible in some ways. And, the last guy who hurt Tua's feeling goes to the Vikings, Phil said. And JD said, he's been kicked out of so many communities for being a Tua truther. That's just the case. It's a mix of actual non-Dolphins fans who have corrupted the fan community, but it's also fans who are just they're so invested, and they were so invested in the tank for Tua thing, and they were so enthralled by the fantasy that they can't let it go. Either way, this is definitely a thing that'll take hold, and benching him, I think, will be difficult for those reasons. But one thing I'll say is I wonder about the Patriots. This is a home opener for Miami. The Patriots are not a very good team. They are in the first year of a new rebuild with Mike Vrabel. I think this season for the Dolphins overall, and I did predict a win in this game, and I'm not going to change that because of last week, even though I probably should. I don't know that this is, even though it looks like we're completely falling off the rails now, I don't know that this season is going to be off the rails to the extent of like 2007, where we got one win or no wins. I still think this is going to be more of a mediocre season where we still use that speed and some of that scheme to win a few games. And I wouldn't be surprised if we won this game on Sunday. Now, I'm in the happy position, and I hope many of you real objective fans are in the same position as me, where I like to watch the games, and I'm rooting for the Dolphins most of the time when I'm watching these games, and I'm excited about it, unless it's like really at the end of the year and I just want to change and I know one game is going to make it change. For now, I want the Dolphins to win. I'm a fan. I like my Sundays. I enjoy just forget about the everything outside of it, the future, next year, the whole season, the standings, just that little game, that microcosm. It's fun to root for the Dolphins. However, I'm in a place where I'm looking for change, and I'm excited for the next chapter so I can sit here on the show and talk about it with you guys, to the point that if they lose, it doesn't completely ruin my entire week right now, because I'm not expecting anything from them anyway. And if they lose, I can come on here and talk to you guys and kind of put the journalism hat on and just do that. And so we should all kind of be in that healthy medium right now as fans, not expecting a bunch, but also, just rooting for the team, but not expecting a bunch. That's where I am. I still predict a win. I don't know what will happen, though. I don't think it's a sure thing at all. Raph, shout outs to you. At the end of the day, it just is what it is. Rodney says that's because they don't know football. That's why Tua has fans, because they're soft like him. But most loyal fans want Tua out ASAP, and Mike McDaniel and the Cube be coach and Greer fired. I think we're all ready to move on if we're objective at all. And that's what this channel is about, guys. This channel is about objective conversation, not, jock riding and nothing but blind loyalty, not constant negativity. But we will call out if Tua has a good game this week. I'll tell you, I had a good game. It's not going to change my overall opinion on the fact he can't get it done in the long run. But if he has a good game, I'll say it. This channel has absolutely no qualms about keeping it real, and that's what we're doing. So everybody who did join us tonight, thanks for joining us. We have a lot of new subscribers on the channel. Thanks for checking out both G's rant, Phil's written column, the new members. Thanks for joining and checking out my written column available to members every week. And then thank you for watching my latest rant and video. I'll be doing them hopefully after every game. Sometimes it's a little tough. It's not my day job. It's not my full-time thing, but I keep it real here and I care about the Fins and I care about you guys. So that's why we're here. The Two Guys with Glasses show will be back next week, and we'll keep this thing going all year. Look out for our individual rants after the games. But look, it's going to be a long, rough season. We're going to keep it real on this channel. And when we do turn the page and we get some new players or a new regime, we're going to be there to analyze and ride that out with you too. G, any final thoughts on last week? Any final thoughts on the upcoming week? Anything to say to Fury fan?
I mean, again, I'm going to keep the eye on the quarterbacks in college. I mean, granted, we're still in that early part of the season. We're playing cupcakes still, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. But, it's going to be a long, long road. Guys, if we win, it's a win-win for us. If we win, we can be somewhat happy about it, maybe be back to optimistic land. If we lose, we can, be somewhat happy about that. But, I'm not going to be happy. If we lose, I'm not going to be angry like how I was in years past. I'm not expecting anything. I mean, at the worst case scenario, we win a playoff game and we're stuck with these clowns. But, we're going to be in for a long season, no matter if we're winning or losing.
Yes, sir. And that's that, guys. Until Sunday, when you'll hear from us again, and you might hear some other content from us here and there. The Fury fam is going to go and try to recover ourselves, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Life is bigger than Dolphins football, but we still somewhat revolve around our favorite team, so we are here. Blue, no problem. And guys, it was absolutely great to spend the night with you. We'll see you soon. Two Guys with Glasses out.
I know you heard me